What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here with a very special video. We're going to do a little bit of a gameplay analysis and breakdown for Dune Awakening. The developers over at Funcom actually sent me a video. This is 30 minutes of gameplay from Gamescom, which is happening in Germany, of course. And we're just going to go through like the gameplay footage and like listen and react and maybe pause and rewind and find a couple key areas for this game that I'm really excited about.
To this first glimpse at the gameplay of Dune Awakening.
Yeah, Dune Awakening.
I'm really excited to welcome you into our world, but I want to point out a couple of things.
How's everyone
First of all,
doing today?
this is a beta.
How you doing?
It's beta footage, so you'll see bugs and you'll see things that need polish still. And secondly, our tutorialization is still a work in progress.
Okay, so it's
With
a
that
beta
said,
version. Don't take it as gospel. All right.
The start of the game, Dune Awakening, begins off-world on this large spaceship.
Show yourself, child.
It is here, in the presence of the Reverend
Now,
Mother.
this is the makers of
character creation
Conan
begins.
Exiles, by the way.
Now, the first thing you'll do is choose your preset avatar. Some of these are heavily inspired by the Denis Villeneuve movies. Once you've chosen a base visual look, you can then move into the depths of character creation and make choices about how your character feels, both in terms of age, but also a plethora of physical attributes.
Drift Keeper.
Our
that
goal
actually looks pretty cool.
in giving players access to a detailed character creator is to really allow them to create the avatar that lets them fulfill their fantasy of living out their dreams on Arrakis.
All right.
There are a multitude of hairstyles and other things such as tattoos for players to choose from.
Whoa.
You can even choose different styles
Pretty
of
cool.
lipstick and eyeshadow.
We got any Dune fans in the chat? Let me know. I need to get into the lore of this world. I need to really dive in. But I'm super excited for this game, and I'm really just couldn't be more excited that they actually included
You can choose
me
the
and
muscle tone of
sent
your
some
character,
footage our way,
from height,
so
arm
that we can
thickness,
react to
leg
this. 'Cause
thickness,
obviously,
neck length.
I don't have the budget to fly to Germany and cover Gamescom, but
Once you finish your character,
it'd be dope.
you choose your name and
It'd
enter
be
the
dope.
world.
What's up? How you doing?
And once you've customized the avatar that you want to play in the game,
Have I
Oh,
told
that's-
you
well, then we
what
move
I
into
am?
the second phase
bangs.
of character creation.
Then I will sift your words for lies. Let's begin. Where were you born?
The second phase of
Oh,
character
I don't even
creation
know any of those
is where
places.
you, as a person who may
gonna
or
have
may
to-
not know anything about Dune,
Oh, dude.
get to make choices about who you were before the game starts.
Okay. Well, it's got
Where
a
you
little
come
description
from,
on the side.
What caste
Okay.
you belong to.
I was like,
in the Dune
I
universe.
don't know any
And
of
of
the
course,
any of
perhaps
the
most
planets or any
importantly,
of the
who your
locations.
mentor was.
Who was your mentor?
Oh my god.
Your mentor determines your starting set of skills.
Okay,
when you
actually,
enter the
let's
game.
hang on.
You must
Oh.
have been very young.
Why is this? Okay, hang on. We go back. What was this like? Yeah, like right here. So yeah, we're reacting to some footage from Dune Awakening. This was sent to me from Funcom. This is some footage from Gamescom. It's a 30-minute gameplay trailer. Okay, so here, based on where you're from, if you're from Caladan, I guess here, it says the vast peasant labor force that drives the Imperial engine. Peons are bound to the fief in which they live and are considered the property of their lord. Dialogue trait, I think it's peon. Maybe not pion, maybe it's peon. Okay. Okay, so yeah, you're picking like all these various
Who was your
options
mentor?
here.
Your mentor,
So who was your mentor? And then here you could say a Bene Gesserit acolyte. So that would give you physical mastery and manipulation training. Your starting ability would be voice compel. Use the voice to force someone towards your position from afar. So yeah, this is going to be a little deeper, I think, than Conan Exiles. I think they've they've definitely learned a lot from that game as to like how they can create really compelling survival MMOs. But I mean, this one here is obviously going to be like, you know, science fiction, futuristic, you know, hardcore survival, because we're going to be in the desert. You're going to need to manage heat levels and, of course, you know, your food and water type stuff. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Determines your starting set of skills when you enter the game.
You must
What's up,
have
Jay?
been
How you
very
doing?
young. The mind must be prepared, or the training does not take.
Yeah, and having like
test is
branching
almost
dialogue and
complete.
stuff seems really cool.
Have you
I
spoken
dig that.
truths? Come here.
Dig that
Kneel.
quite a bit.
Put your hand in the box.
Am I gonna get that hand back? I haven't seen what that does. Oh,
I hold at your neck the Gonjabar, the high-handed enemy.
Hey.
Don't pull away or you will die. Great plots
sign
are
up for
afoot in the
acupuncture
Imperium,
later.
and the currents of intrigue run deeply. Arrakis is the key, and the Fremen are missing. You will go to Arrakis as our agent, prisoner. You have one task. Find the Fremen. Wake the sleeper. You will know when it is done.
I don't know. English.
Now we're
we
going to
keep
jump
the
ahead
chat
a
in
little bit in the
English so
story
that
here.
everyone can
Skipping
understand
past several
what's being
events
said.
just to sort of get
Welcome.
into the early new player experience of the game.
Okay.
And you'll see that the player,
Interesting.
after various shenanigans, wakes up here in a
I
cave.
think one of my lamps got hit.
And as we sort of look around the cave, we'll notice that it's filled with Fremen and the remnants of, you know, this ancient culture. So now as the player takes their first steps in the world, they're really here amongst the dead. And so the first question they should be asking is, what happened here? Who are these people? And, you know, this is just a place where we give players a little bit of time to adjust their settings, get a feel for the movement keys,
This
and then move
is
forward into the cave.
this is gameplay footage
And they'll
from
stumble
Gamescom.
upon their first major interaction point, which is the Frem kit.
Yeah, I think
Frem kit
that's
in
a
our
little
game
better.
serves as both a backpack for the player, of course, but also really a guide. The
Okay.
Fremen used to pack these with interesting objects
Oh,
that they
hey,
could use to
why
survive in
is
the
the-
desert, and it's no
I don't
different from the player.
understand.
So here they begin
Hello?
their first crafting,
Okay, like all my keyboard shortcuts are not
which is the
working for
Frem kit.
some reason. Okay, so I
Frem
wanted
kit
to
in
see
our game
this right
serves
here.
as both a
Hang on.
the Fremen used to pack these
Okay,
with
so scrap metal knife, craft items using components collected from the world in the crafting menu. Craft a scrap. Okay.
interesting objects
So yeah, just
that
teaching us some of the opening
could use
stuff
to
in the
survive in
game
the
here.
desert, and it's no different from the player.
Which, I mean,
here
already
they
I think
begin
these
their first
menus
crafting
look
experience,
a lot more
crafting a small
user-friendly
scrap knife
than Conan
out of
Exiles.
metal
I think
that was in the
Conan Exiles had, like, kind of has, like, an older UI that's really kind of leans more to, like, PC and, you know, mouse and keyboard friendly type of user interface. And I feel like they've probably learned since then that, like, a lot of people play controller on PC. And, of course, you know, expanding Conan Exiles onto consoles, you know, they realize, like, hey, we have to have a more unifying UI across all our platforms. And so I think this already looks better. This is already a good sign.
These caves have been moisture sealed
Oh, that's cool.
in order to preserve the moisture of those within the cave, and so the player,
Moisture
as they
seal.
explore, will be able to use their scrap metal knife to pierce the seals.
Ooh, I like how dark
And
it is
escape.
down here. This is pretty cool.
So really, this entire area, built
Lighting.
using Unreal Engine 5, is just to sort of get the player and ease them into the path. A lot of survival games
Also,
have very
notice
abrupt
like the
order to
sand that
preserve
they're
the moisture of
kicking
those
up.
within the cave. So really, this entire area,
this right here,
built
like
using Unreal Engine
the
5,
detail of the
it's
sand.
just to sort of get the player and ease them into the path. A lot of survival games have very abrupt, very harsh beginnings, and we tried to, make the experience of joining Dune Awakening just a little easier, just give people a little bit of a feel for the world.
That's honestly a good idea on their end. Trying to make the tutorial space a little better than like how Minecraft and even Conan Exiles is, where they kind of just dump you in. They're like, whatever, start punching trees, and so it's actually kind of cool that they're weaving in a tutorial and they want to teach you some of the basics so that you can kind of understand how the game goes before they release you into this like really kind of hardcore survival.
We really toss them out
environment here.
To the harshness that is the desert.
Okay,
of
so
Arrakis.
Plant fibers,
So here we've
making
crafted a
some
heal kit,
bandages here.
and we're going to use that to heal our character. And once we're healed, you'll see that our stamina bar in the bottom left appears. And now that we have stamina, we can climb.
You can free climb like in Conan Exiles.
The climbing system in Dune Awakening is
Zelda
based
games, Breath
in
of the
part
Wild,
on the one
and,
that we built for Conan
Tears of
Exiles.
the Kingdom.
It's a free-form climbing system.
So, I mean, it's good to see this
It can be
feature
used to
back in the
climb
game.
almost anywhere.
Conan Exiles did it really
and as
well.
you'll see later,
I think
the
this
new
is running
technology
it
available
even
in Dune
better.
Awakening,
Welcome,
such as
welcome.
dispenser belts, allows us to do even more interesting things with traversal.
Yeah, I really dig that.
So once we've finished that first little section, we're jumping ahead, we're going straight into the harsh real world of Arrakis. And here are your first steps on Arrakis. Your ornithopter has crashed, and you've got to escape from the crash site immediately, because the sandworm always comes.
What? My God.
And what you have to keep in mind is, these are the little ones.
These are the
These
little
are the
ones?
first sandworms you
Dude.
encounter in the game.
Once
There's
again,
bigger ones later on.
footprints in the sand.
The
Okay,
other-
we're also seeing like a meter here. Maybe this is like a noise detection meter of like, hey, you're running on the surface. The worms are gonna detect you if you're making too much noise. We're also seeing like the heat of the sun. I mean, this just looks gorgeous. It's a gorgeous game for sure. So
The thing that you have
dig
to
it.
pay attention to as a player is sunstroke and heat.
Yeah, so we're seeing the heat, and then we're also seeing like the water bar on the far left side of the screen.
So
Okay.
if you see in the top middle of the UI here, we've got this sunstroke
getting
bar
hot.
building up. The longer
my
you
God.
stay in the sunlight, the more chance you have of getting into this sunstroke state. And of course, our player here, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, has decided to stay in the sun and try harvesting water from plants. So he has become
Okay, so you
sunstroked.
get water from the plants. Okay.
Sunstroke gives you a debuff. It means that your water goes down much faster than it normally would. That means you'll need to drink more often.
That's
So
actually pretty
stick to the
legit.
shadows,
Pretty realistic.
avoid the sun.
I mean,
will-
you spend a lot of time in the desert, you get dehydrated. The only thing to really solve that is to give yourself more water. And then also, like trying to find like shady spots. I mean, this is all pretty realistic survival stuff. And it's going to make for some pretty interesting
Eventually wear
gameplay
off
too.
if you stay in shade long enough.
Now, I got to say, this sandy environment
So now that we've made
looks
our
really
way
good.
out of the first part of the desert and we're heading deeper in, we're going to start to harvest in the game world. So harvesting in a lot of these survival games is quite similar. In this case, we're picking up items, but we're about to pull out what's known as the cut array. And what we do with the cut array is we analyze structures to find their weak points.
What?
And then we cut along those lines to break open the structures and gain the
Okay.
resources inside. This is like mining. We apply it both to rocks, we apply it to metals in the game world. At the start of the game as a player,
yeah,
you'll just
this
be
does
scrounging
sound
around,
cool, right,
picking up,
Brian? I dig it.
Finding
I dig
structural
it,
weak points in rocks that you can harvest, breaking them apart, and taking those pieces with you.
Oh,
Now
that's
we've jumped ahead a
so
little bit.
cool. You have to like cut
Player, you'll
along
just
the
be scrounging
lines of the
around,
rock
picking up,
with
finding
with
structural weak
essentially,
points in rocks that
what
you
looks
can
like a
harvest,
torch,
breaking them apart and taking
a
those
laser
pieces.
torch. And you're just
Now
like
we've jumped
melting
ahead a
it
little
down.
bit, and we see that the player is starting to be affected by the spice in the air.
Spice
And this
withdrawal.
means that
Oh my
players
God.
need to get somewhere safe.
Wait,
in
he's
shelter.
getting high. Look at this. He's got like there's like purple wavy lines and stars along the side of the screen. That's
Before
Oh,
the
boy.
spice overwhelms them and overwhelms their senses. And this is another large part of the game. We're not going to show too much of it today, but
that's cool.
spice is a very
I'm
important
doing
part.
pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. I hope you're all doing well as
With the
well.
world broken apart by the War of Assassins, there are NPC bases scattered all over
bases.
Arrakis. We're switching to a different character now. One who's slightly more advanced, and he's using his binoculars to mark an NPC outpost. We're going to mark that. That marker will then appear on our compass.
Wait, you just...
And you're able to approach them in
hover.
any way you like.
Okay.
In this case, our character uses a Shiga-wire claw combined with a suspensor belt
And a
to get up to high ground and approach the enemy base from above. Kind of one of the interesting things about Dune Awakening is just how you can combine the different abilities. And this is how traversal really plays into the game. Like, you end up being able to attack these bases from any angle that you'd like. Now, our player is going to craft the first gun in the game, known as a Mauler pistol, which translates to, the basic kind of weapon in the game. As you may know, in Dune, bullets are not the preferred type of ammunition. Instead, it's darts, which are fired at a slower rate in order to try and attempt to pierce shields. Now, this early in the game, enemies don't really have shields, so the player is going to sneak into the base from above and use a combination of their early abilities. In this case, dropping out a grenade, then sneaking around the corner, and beginning to get into NPCs head-on.
I don't know, that fires pretty fast.
Now, troopers are the basic shock troops of the universe, and their ability trees reflect that. Grenades, Shiga-wire claws for moving around, and of course, they're able to take down people with headshots. You can see how suspensor belts really allow you to change your approach to combat.
Okay, but what about melee? We chucked a grenade.
Dune Awakening is at heart
cool.
a third-person shooter with melee and abilities.
Okay, and
it's the combination of melee,
he could just grapple to
abilities.
anything. Let's go back. Hang on, because he grapples to this box
Dune
right here.
Is at
Just
heart
to like
a third-person
lunge
shooter
forward, kind of
with
like Batman or something.
And abilities.
Uses that to get like a
the combination of melee,
boost.
abilities, and range shooting that creates what we call combined arms
pretty
in the
cool.
game.
Yeah, combat's
now,
looking
we've taken a fair
slick.
bit of damage in this battle.
And of course, all these, we're seeing this NPC base here that's obviously been designed by the developers, but one of the things that they said today was like, you can pretty much like scan these bases or like scan your own building that you've built and like upload that to like the marketplace or something for like other players to access your builds, like, and they're going to give you the tools to be able to build vast structures like this and really get creative about what your settlement looks like. It's pretty cool.
Bandages heal over time, so you can't just heal yourself.
Funcom is underrated,
get
and
into
they're
safety,
cooking
get
with this
behind
game.
cover before you start using them. Now we're going to quickly switch to a slightly different character to show off more of the melee that we have in the game, because you're about to see that when a character gets in close, it's melee time.
Oh, look at this guy.
This character has Swordmaster abilities.
Okay.
First of all, the knee charge, which is about getting in close to do damage in combat.
Oh,
and then
quickly
setting up to a riposte, which allows you to parry
that armor too,
and return massive amounts of damage to your enemy. Of course, later in the game, when enemies have shields, melee is a much more emphasized style of combat. And you see that when a player is not really equipped to handle ranged characters, they have to fall back on their abilities to get in close.
Yeah, you gotta like dash and
we've switched again.
The knee attack.
Now we're going to switch to a set of Mentat abilities.
Pretty cool.
One of these abilities is known as Battlefield Calculation. Using Battlefield Calculation, the Mentat is able to calculate from anybody that they see what they're carrying and what they're wearing.
Oh, that is cool.
Now we've dropped out.
Let's go back. Let's hear that
again.
again.
Using Battlefield Calculation, again.
Let's hear this
Now we're
again.
going to switch to a set of Mentat abilities. One of these abilities is known as Battlefield Calculation. Using Battlefield Calculation, the Mentat is able to calculate from anybody that they see what they're carrying and what they're wearing.
Yeah, so it tells you like what weapons they have, their armor.
We're using our Hunter Seeker
like
ability
the
to take
skills
down
that they have
really quickly.
Okay, and then a drone as well.
What they're carrying and what they're wearing. Now we've dropped out our Hunter Seeker, and we're using our Hunter Seeker ability to take down enemies in the world really quickly.
That's so cool.
You hear that?
Okay. Teaming up with your fellow teammates.
Now, obviously, when you're playing with a friend, you want to combine your abilities and work together. In this case, the Mentat's able to point out to their friend where people are in the world and how much ammo and stuff they have.
Oh, that's
And you'll
cool.
see that when enemies go down sometimes, they go into a down but not out state. It's up to you whether you execute them or continue to fight.
Huh.
after a quick reload, it's back into the battle, with our friend coming from above and throwing out one more grenade.
That's pretty cool. Sanguination. Uh-oh.
And once you've defeated your enemies in battle, sometimes you just gotta take their blood.
Wait, what?
In order to get water, the player's going to have to craft
Wee
themselves this
blood
blood sack and this blood extractor and use it to harvest blood from their
Oh,
fallen enemies.
the blood. Harvest
Now,
the blood to make
in our
drinkable
game,
water.
It's not always a good thing to just take blood from people. It's potentially bad and can only be used for certain things.
Yeah.
Once you've extracted the blood, you can then, of course, drink it. As you'll see here, the player takes a big sip from their blood bag. But when they do that, it causes a debuff because the blood is not exactly pure, and drinking blood for water is not exactly a one-to-one scenario.
Yeah.
So you'll see that our
very
health
true.
bar got shorter while our water bar went up.
Ooh,
and so
the
being a
health
blood
bar
drinker
got
is not always
temporarily
looked
reduced.
upon in the right way.
Okay. So there's got to be a way to like purify it.
Of course,
or
once
something.
you've played the game for a little while, you'll start wanting to build your own base.
Yes.
And the first part of that is placing down what we call a sub-fief console.
Okay.
A sub-fief console allows you to claim a small part of Arrakis as your own, but it does in turn mean that you'll start to owe taxes to the Emperor.
Axes.
So here we are with our building system, and you can see that we have two types of building here. We have the holograms, which show
Looks
in the
a
beginning.
lot like Conan's,
I
but
call them Solido projections
very
internally.
user-friendly.
And we have the way that you fill in, which is by holding down the mouse button in this case. So the cool thing about this is it allows us to have this cooperative building system.
Oh, that's cool.
So you'll see that one player places out the Solido projections, and the other player fills them in with the materials from their inventory. This is just a way that lets people play together and build together in an interesting
Cooperative building.
and exciting.
Let's go.
We've seen through our experience with Conan Exiles that some people just love to build in these
We
games.
do. We do.
So
love to
we've
build.
created a system
So yeah,
called
you
the
can
Blueprint
there's your
building system that
blueprints.
allows players to save a copy of their base as one of these giant holographics. Then they can take them out into the world and place them out wherever they like and then rebuild. And we have another system in the game which allows you to take these, big architectural designs of your buildings and sell them to other players on the exchange.
Sell them to other players.
Once again, this is a way to quickly move your base around the
dig it.
world. If you've got a design you like, you don't have to, throw it out immediately. And it allows you to
Dude,
create
I
these
love that.
interesting
The
masterpieces.
dome ceiling.
It also, as you can see here, allows you to, if you're not artistically minded and you don't
Dude,
like building
look at-
big bases,
that
you can buy
building
them from
looks
other
cool.
players.
Look at that. That is art. Oh man.
Once you finish crafting a base, you want to fill it with all kinds of machines, fabricators, and refineries. And of
3D
course,
printers.
harkening back to the blood extraction we just did, we've got the blood
blood
purifier.
purifier. Here we
So what
go.
we want to do is take the blood from our blood sack and deposit it into the blood purifier, and over time it will refine into lovely fresh water, which can then extract into our liter johns and carry with us out into the desert.
That's cool.
While there's many varieties of fabricators that you can use to craft things in the game, one of the most exciting
ladders, we
things
got
is
vehicles.
crafting yourself a vehicle.
Oh,
So we're
man,
opening the
that's
technology
cool.
menu, and from here we're able to purchase the design
Sand bike.
for a sand bike. A sand bike is one of the early vehicles available to players in the game,
Okay.
and you can kit it out with different types of modules, including an extra seat, which allows you to bring your friends with you.
Little seat for your
So in this
friend.
menu you can see we're fabricating ourselves a sand bike, and all the different parts of the sand bike have to be fabricated individually. So the player is going into the menu here, they're crafting different things which will make up their sand bike, and as you can see it prints out in this kind of 3D printer type way where all the materials are turned into these particles which then come together to form the different pieces of the sand bike.
cool.
And you can see it's sort of all happening in the background here. And if we go out into the world view, you can actually see the pieces forming up inside the fabricator. So a base with lots of these fabricators going is actually pretty cool and pretty busy. Once we've done, we jump back in, we pull things out of the queue, chuck them into our inventory, and then we use the welding tool to place out vehicle pieces. Now again, this is a cooperative activity. We've thought about multiplayer, so any other player could be working with you to place modules and pieces of this bike.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so we're going to assemble this
we could
bike.
literally build this together.
But of course, when you work on larger
I'm gonna
vehicles,
build the wheels, you
and your
build
friends
the
are with
seat, you know.
You'll be able to work together
And we
and
just
craft big
place
things
it.
like transport.
So yeah, if we were making like a bigger vehicle, you know, this.
And so we're going to add the body to this, and we're going to add
resources.
an extra seat just in case we want to bring our friend with us out
There
into
you
the
go.
world. Once the bike's been assembled and fueled up, you jump on
That's sick.
and you can head out to explore the greater areas of Arrakis.
Wow. World events. Like public
Heading out
events
into the
in
world
Destiny?
to explore can be a dangerous experience. And as you explore the universe, you'll find certain dynamic events will occur. In this case, the War of Assassins has claimed a new victim, a ship which falls from the sky, spilling its loot all over the sand. So we head out there to see what we can get, to harvest and gather as much as we can. Of course, the problem is, this is extremely visible to everybody in the nearby area. So people will be able to see this, and so in a PvP area, you might suddenly find yourself coming into competition with other players. In a PvE area, you might just find other people competing with you to get to the loot first.
I really prefer to just do like PvE stuff. That's why I've always done like private servers on
And of course,
Conan.
at night time, there are different kinds of threats. Because while the heat of the day is dangerous, at night, the Sardaukar patrol this area of the desert with huge spotlights, searching for players. Now this player is over here, harvesting dew with a dew reaper, sucking the water off the surface of these plants. And they've been captured and seen by the Sardaukar.
Oh no!
And the Sardaukar send down troops who come floating down out of the sky to attack and
that's
destroy the
not
players.
good. A sandworm. Yeah, this looks cool.
Now, of course, as mentioned, traveling on the surface at any time
The vehicle.
risks drawing a sandworm. But there are certain things which we've created to draw players out of their comfort zones. So in this case, there's a special type of sand here on the surface, known as flower sand. Flower sand, according to the books, is the softest kind of sand, and players can use it to refine it into a variety of different materials that they need for crafting.
Oh, that's cool.
So you want to come out into the desert and you want to try and find flower sand. But you have to be wary and pay attention, because as you harvest, you risk drawing the attention of the sandworm.
Sandworms get mad. Oh no. Up.
We've awoken the beast. The sandworm is coming. We spent too much time out here, and it's coming to get us. Now you can see in the middle of the screen the indicator showing us that the sandworm is angry, and it's coming after us. And our only option now is to get back to rocky ground, or the sandworm's going to take us. I don't know how those guys survived
like
that,
Tremors.
but somehow they managed to get to the safety of the rock island.
Yikes, that's terrifying. Player hubs.
Once you've crafted your first ornithopter, you'll be able to take to the air, and your
Dude.
entire perspective of the world shifts.
Game changer.
From here, it'll make traversing the world a lot safer because you can avoid the sandworms. It'll also help you to go out into the larger world of Arrakis. Here we are in the overland map, and we're going to make our way south until we find the place known as Harko Village. Harko Village is the current seat of the Harkonnen, after their city, Carthag, was destroyed in a nuclear explosion during the War of Assassins. There's more details like that in the lore of the game for players to discover and explore. So we're going to land at Harko, and we're going to explore the social space.
Interesting.
Once you arrive in Harko Village, you'll be able to meet up with other players,
I love
interact with them, trade, and create guilds. The game has a variety of social interaction mechanics, from emotes to grouping to a chat.
Parties.
Throughout Harko Village, you'll also interact with story characters, follow the main story,
Wait, let's go back.
from emotes to grouping to a chat. Throughout Harko Village, you'll also interact with
Okay, so you can talk, you can trade.
Story characters follow the
Like a
main
bartender.
story.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You'll be able to meet vendors who will sell you exotic items.
They let you live.
Legends.
That is interesting.
Oh, look at this. SMG, LMG, pistols, swords.
You'll be able to get a feel for how the factions are viewed in the world. And of course, you'll be able to swear allegiance to one of the major factions, the Harkonnen or the Atreides. Swear your guild's allegiance and begin to take part in the politics of the Imperium.
Interesting. Testing stations.
Once you've grouped up with friends, you should go out into the world and find desert Imperial testing stations. These are dungeon-like experiences, which you and your friends can work through together. So here we are landing our various ornithopters outside of one of the desert testing stations, and we're going to head in as a group. Now it's really important to prepare different skills and abilities. These areas tend to be more of a challenge, and it's great to work together.
Oh, here we go. Skills. Okay, shield wall. Deploy a dart-proof energy field generated by the Holtzman effect. Level up this ability to increase lifespan. Cooldown 23, duration 10, 1 skill point. That's pretty cool.
Complement each other. So this is the skill tree. Here you can equip different
Battlefield
types of abilities.
calculation. Scan characters and objects. Enemies will show their archetype, and traps will show the damage type they deal. Level up this ability to increase duration. Cooldown 20, duration 60.
And techniques.
Hunter Seeker, pilot and assassin's remotely controlled needle-tipped drone.
We have 3 slots for ability
And the shield wall.
and 3 slots for techniques. And there are multiple
Charge. Hold to aim and release to jump forward with a knee attack. Deals concussive damage and heavy staggers the target. Costs stamina. Level up this ability to increase damage. Cooldown 16. Concussive damage 40. Poise damage
different trees
100.
depending on the type of trainers that you've interacted with in the world.
Cool.
So our character here is going to equip
Slow deflection.
a series of abilities that
Enter a defensive stance and deflect dart and heavy dart range attacks. Consumes stamina. 12 second
complements the
cooldown,
rest
I
of
guess.
the group.
For a cooldown of 12.
In this case, Swordmaster techniques.
Ah, that's cool.
Alright, so we're heading in. And of course you can use dispenser belts to traverse,
dungeon.
as you'd expect. And we're
Little
going to
dungeon
explore this
here. I
Imperial
like that.
testing lab.
What's up? How you doing? Yeah, we're taking a look here at Dune Awakening, and this is like essentially a dungeon that you can explore with friends.
Testing stations have storylines as well as
High-level challenge.
enemies to fight and loot to be found.
Okay.
So you really want to go in here and enjoy the experience.
These environments are gorgeous.
Playing through with friends,
I dig it.
working together.
Yeah, you get like
Using different
sort
weapons
of an
and trying out
ability
different
that
techniques.
allows you to like glide, and there's like a grappling.
Now this
hook
player
as
has placed
well.
out a portable cover. This is a different ability to what we've seen before. And you see that the enemies here have
cool.
shields.
Getting some
Using the
Destiny
flamethrower,
vibes
it's
from
easy
some of these
to get through
like,
a shield because you
abilities,
can
you know?
burn the air around them.
Just like gameplay wise.
And of course,
So I
our
like the
characters are a little
outfits,
higher
too.
level
I
than they
mean,
were
you
in
got
the
like
start
a
of this video.
Master
So you're
Chief
able to
looking
see that,
outfit.
yeah.
You got the cape.
We can take people down a little more easily. And of course, when you get to the end of these areas, you find these really cool loot chests. And in these loot chests, you find specialized components that are used for crafting exotic weapons and items.
I like what? Okay.
The end game.
I just wonder, does everybody get to loot that chest and get their own stuff, or do we share that? I'm definitely curious about that. What's up, Jezza? Am I playing on streaming Star Wars Outlaws? I think so. Assuming I have the budget to purchase said game. Things are running a little tight here on the channel. But it is a game that I'm interested in playing. Absolutely.
Awakening takes place
So Spice Hunt.
in the deep desert. Giant spice blows will happen, drawing players from all around
Whoa.
to try and harvest the spice as quickly as possible. You want to get there first, and you want to try and take
Feel like
as
a
much spice
massive
as you
hauler,
can before an
got a
enemy
tank.
guild shows up to try and
That's
take it away
pretty
from you.
cool. Rocket
Now, of
launcher.
course, if you're clever and you start to lose the battle, you might place out a thumper. And that limits the time in which people are able to take spice, because then the big worm is going to show up.
Oh, so does that essentially lure out the worm? And you're just like, hey,
I hope
if I
you've
don't
enjoyed
get
this brief
nobody
glimpse
does.
at the gameplay,
you know?
of Dune Awakening.
That's
And
crazy.
we're really excited to have you join us when the game releases.
Okay, so once again, just want to pull back on this.
I hope
right
you've
here.
enjoyed this brief glimpse
Dune
at the
Awakening.
gameplay of Dune Awakening. And we're really
So
excited.
once again, I really got to thank the folks over at Funcom for reaching out and sending this video my way. This is some footage from Gamescom, 30 minutes of gameplay that we got to look at here that I'm really excited about. But yeah, it is coming to PC early 2025, PlayStation and Xbox TBA. So we'll go from there. Yeah, Space Marine 2 looks really dope, man. I'm excited for that. But yeah, there's just so many games like coming out back to back to back, and you know, Dead Rising's Deluxe Remaster. There's all sorts of incredible games that I'm excited to play. So
to have you join us when the game releases.
Survive, Expand, Control. Coming to Steam, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. So once again, gamers, I want to thank you for checking out this video. It was really cool getting to see something from Gamescom. Really great that they were able to include me because, you know, I'm excited for this game, and you know, obviously don't quite have the budget to go to Gamescom in Germany and, you know, do my own coverage and interviews and stuff like that. So I mean, this was a cool way to make sure that other creators and people that wanted to know more about the game can be informed. So I don't know, I'm even more excited. I was already pretty excited, and I really enjoyed Conan Exiles, another game that Funcom has made, and we've done some content on the channel relating to that. But I'm even more excited that it seems like they took the lessons they learned with that game, and then they're applying it to Dune Awakening, and of course having like the more modern, you know, science fiction elements and stuff. I'm gonna have to really dive into the Dune universe so that I'm a little more well versed by the time this game comes out. But once again, very excited, and they did say that they will have like some beta testing and stuff like that coming soon in the future. So I will see if I can get signed up for stuff like that, and hopefully we can check it out. So once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Take care, be safe, we'll see you later. Bye.